right, go.
Hi, everybody. Happy holidays to everybody and happy New Year's Eve.
Thank you.
Eve. I don't know how many Eves I said or how many there are at this point. But you get the idea. I am super excited to be with everyone today. I've got decorations up. Sam, how are you doing?
Doing, hanging in there. It's been a long day.
It's been a long year, my friend.
It's been a long year, but we've gotten through it. We're at the end.
I can see a light at the end of the tunnel and on to 2021. I'm really excited about it. I have to say, before we get into these announcements, we just have 3 quick ones. I have to say, today on my run, I was really, really missing theater.
Yeah.
It has been catching up with me. It has caught up with me. It has surpassed me. There's a hole.
There is, but we are doing what we can during this time to be able to get back to doing that, hopefully sooner rather than later. So
yes, I hope you're right. I feel like you're right. I'm choosing to believe in you. So really quickly, speaking of theater and improv, Suzanne Matai has her improv classes. They're open to all ages.
Yes,
they're not just for kids anymore. It's for the grown-up kids too. I'm excited.
Yes, and
and you can sign up. Oh, I love you. You can sign up. I'm going to put the link right here in our little chat so you can sign up for the improv classes. Yay. That's for Suzanne's class.
Yay.
And they start January 12th. So it's coming up. That's a fun thing to start in the new year. Then it also, I think this is it. I think this is, you have to pre-order Grace Rector's book like right now. I'm putting that link also in the chat. This is for the Rector girls. And this is going to be great advice. I learned really great things from Pam Rector. And this is advice that she gave to her daughter. So you don't want to miss it. And then Alice Lunsford wrote a book. Second book, actually. Maybe even her third. And I'm really excited about this. But this just released. And there you go. Those are announcements. Everyone has the links.
Should we also talk about what's happening at the Kentwood Players right now?
You know what? We should. And you know what else? We've got some people that can talk more about.
I was talking about the virtual theater series.
Oh, yes. Oh, well, before we talk about that, bring on our guests, let's talk about the virtual play series.
Well, you can. I was going to go ahead.
Please do.
All right. So right now we have the original play, Together Apart, directed by George Condrick and written by Cassidy Kep, and starring Jenny Boone, Stanley Brown, and Grace McLaughlin. I don't know how I remembered all that.
I'm super impressed.
Thank you. It is currently it's currently on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/KentwoodPlayers. So go watch it before it leaves, because you only have until January 24th to watch it, and then it is gone forever, or until we decide to put it back up. Then next up, we have next month we have 3 Syllables of Shame, written by Ram Watson and directed by Kat Ram, and it will be premiering on January 24th. So we have a couple things to look forward to, and if you haven't watched Together Apart yet, go watch it right now. Or not right now.
Not right now. After. But also, who is starring in 3 Syllables of Shame?
Lindsay and Jeremy Palmer.
Yay.
Some Kentwood veterans who've been in quite a few shows with us.
I really love that we're doing this new virtual play series. It's really great, and I've been excited for all the new shows that are coming up. We've got new playwrights coming into our realm, and it's very exciting. And I thank you, everyone, for sharing your plays with us.
Yeah, it's great.
It's great. So now, I thought you were giving me the cue, and I was like, oh, we have to introduce our guests. He's like, enough announcements. Nope. I was wrong.
I wanted to just throw out that we have a couple shows out there so people watch them.
Yes. And that's our virtual series, because right now our building we're all quarantining and our building is under renovations.
I want to know more about that.
Do you
know
see-
who I could talk to?
I do.
To hear more about the building renovation?
Let's bring on. Is Marty Feldman around? Let me see if I can call Marty.
I think
Let me
I
see if I
heard
call
him
Marty.
walk in, actually.
I'm here, but how do I get? No, never mind.
This is your third time on here. You should know by now.
And the star of Recipe, one of the stars. And
That's Sam Gianfalo directed.
that he did direct,
He did.
yes. And we have Allison Bull on here to also talk with us about the building.
I know her.
Yeah, she's great. We know her pretty well.
It was our first ever guest on this show.
She was.
Oh, that's right. I was.
Yes. And Miss Susan Weisbarth to also talk to us about the building. Yay.
Who I have never met before.
Liar.
That's a lie.
Susan is dialing all the way in from a cabin in the deep woods on the Appalachian Trail. I don't know if that's true. But she is in a cabin in
Oh,
Tennessee.
you're muted, Susan.
Susan, you're muted. We didn't do that
Hey,
intentionally.
Susan, you're muted.
What's
Doesn't
the
want to unmute. It's from the Great Smoky Mountains.
The
That's
Great
where-
Smoky Mountains in
In
Tennessee.
Tennessee, y'all.
Which,
Yeah.
little known fact, I grew up summers in Tennessee.
There you go.
In a little hippie
By the way, we
community
all
called
look
the
great
Farm.
on YouTube.
Yay!
Good, I'm glad. We always look great. We always look great.
We do. It's true.
I cannot watch it. It's 20 seconds behind, so it's crazy.
I know, it's very confusing. I know. I'm sorry, we have to pause. David Track is watching us right now. XOXOXO. David, I love you so much. My heart is racing right now. I'm trying to have David is having our baby. He's pregnant with our baby.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I'm in love
Now,
with
as we
him.
speak.
I'm announcing it to the world. I'm in love with him. He already knows. I've announced it a lot of times. So listen, here's the deal. We go into quarantine. This whole world goes into quarantine. And a little group at the Kentwood Players said, well, now's the time. Let's fix some things.
Yeah.
So yes, Marty.
Actually, we go into quarantine, and because we're not in the building,
Right.
we
Right.
experienced a plumbing disaster upstairs in our green and dressing room area kitchen.
Yes, it
in which
flooded.
Days went by in which a pipe burst and leaked all over the floors. And
Yeah.
so
Luckily, no costumes were harmed in the making of this movie.
we lucked out.
We did.
No critters.
Or
No
critters.
critters. We're very fortunate that we have a client by the name of. Oh, I could be louder.
Yes,
Hi,
you could
can
be
you
a
hear
lot
me
louder.
now?
That's better.
To the
All
back
right, I
row,
will,
Marty. Marty,
I will
project to the
speak
back
up.
row.
I will speak up with my acting voice. I'll take out my gun. That will help also.
Oh my gosh, he's
Your teeth.
bad student.
So, we are just too crazy for words during the
We
holidays.
haven't even started drinking.
Oh, and there's Allie. Who's
Speak
that?
for yourself.
Oh, is there somebody? Oh, look.
There's
That's one of my
My
graphic designers.
husband.
You want to see the
He's
box?
out.
again?
Okay.
I love it.
So we have this this accident or this, and it sets in motion the entire process of having to repair. And then as we're going to repair, we brought the insurance company out and all of that, that it became the conversation that this building, which we happen to own, the members own this building. And Susan and Allie can speak to this. They've been members a lot longer than any of us, all the rest of us have been, so they can speak to what that means. But it's a membership-owned theater. And because of that, we have the fiduciary responsibility to maintain the theater's integrity. And it has been, how many years has it been in the shape? It's been 67 is when they finished
How many years has it been in the bad shape that it's in?
Well,
It wasn't bad when we first had
Well, here's
when we
the
first got it, they built it, so it was pretty cool.
It was great,
They built
and
the
it was
stage, they
new.
built everything up, and out of nothing. So that was pretty exciting. But for the last few years, it's had a few issues.
And I think I wanted us to talk about it because, when we think about doing a theater, we think about putting on these shows, and really what we see is the glitz and glam of the final production, right? And on here, we've talked a little bit about everything that goes into the design and building the sets and everything. But what we have not talked about is the maintenance of just how you have a house, a home. It's our home. It's our sanctuary. And it's been falling apart. Slowly, little bit by little bit.
Through the years that were like retired engineers or retired, people who did contracting or plumbing. And so a lot of the work that's been done over the past, at least, since I've been a member, 25 years or so, have been like quick fixes, or or they did a nice job, but it was still not an official big repair, and that worked fine.
Yeah.
But now we're at the point where the Band-Aids aren't going to work anymore. So,
and I think
was the perfect time.
I think too, time.
Yeah.
And I mean, time just wears down anything, as we all know. This is why we have skincare products.
I just threw up 2 pictures of what it was like back then.
I'm going to see if I can't download this while you all are talking.
So
let me put you on.
We have a lot of what this building looked like back in the early days.
We've been, so people know that even though the theater group has been around for 70 years, we've been in this building since
67, yeah.
67. Yes. So we've been in the building for over 50 years. And that's when everything was built, right? When did they build the the upstairs and all of that? Was that right when we opened?
It was not right away. It was a little bit later.
It's so funny because remember I showed everybody what that was? Oh my God, where is that? Oh my God, here's Samantha, one more.
Well, okay.
I don't know how fast it's coming down for you.
Well, I will share them all in a second, but talk more about where we are right now with what's going on. What did we had a flood, and then we said this is the time to renovate. And so what are we doing?
So many things that needed doing, and one thing kind of led to the other. And you couldn't just do one thing. You had to do like 4 or 5 things that went with it.
And let's just backtrack for 2 seconds and say the reason why I, Allison, and Susan are on this, and there's also a missing member right at the moment, Kim Peterson, is because we became the building committee, which also includes our president and vice president, Jenny Boone and Kathy Dersheimer. But the 4 of us, Kim, Allie, Susan, and I, have really been working on this since February, March, when we needed to start working on this. So this team came together. And getting back to now what Susan was saying, it involved many different components. If you're going to repair the floor, then you have to repair the leaks that have been damaging the floor over time. Not just the plumbing accident or incident, and then if you're going to repair the leaks in the roof, then you have to talk about what's on the roof. And we had HVAC systems were on the roof, very old, and they were penetrating the roof and causing a lot of the damage, so they had to be removed. And then that opened up the world of electrical, and it opened up the world of costumes, and it opened up the world of props, and it opened up the world of, if everyone remembers, our wall of fame, the wall with all of the photos that have shown.
History, the archives of Kentwood.
So we took a look at every single aspect of the theater and went, what is it that we can do while we're closed? And I think, let's see, Allie, maybe I'll let you speak to the what we had to do with costumes and what we did with the archiving. And
Yeah,
also,
well, so the part of the whole process, we have a lot of stuff, as you can imagine, costumes especially, and props and furniture that were all over the upstairs, our green room area and our dressing room area. And so basically, and this took a huge number. I mean, I want to say huge. It was also during the pandemic, so it was a safe number, but it was a lot more than just the group of us. There was a lot of people that came in and helped. We had to move essentially everything out of our upstairs green room and dressing room area completely. And we basically moved it all into the house and the lobby. And then the costume committee, which you mentioned already, is Kim Peterson and Kathy Dershmer and Daniel Kruger and others, Jenny as well. They have been painstakingly through the past months since the pandemic and everything, going through and culling our costumes, cleaning out things that are no longer in a condition where they can be worn or used, getting rid of those things. And then, the next step is going through and seeing if we have 12, medium white men's shirts, how many do we really need? And, trying to cull through everything. So that's been a process that is still ongoing, and they've just been doing amazing work because they've really trimmed down our costume supply. So that's just really a huge part of all of this, is being able to look at what we have and clean it out and really determine that, because we're trying not to hoard, for lack of a better word. So yeah, and they've been really working hard on that.
So what's being done with the costumes that you are cleaning out?
Like getting rid of?
I think a lot of stuff.
Are they being?
I think some of the stuff was literally thrown out because it was just not usable anymore. But I don't know if they have been sent. They may have been taking it to Goodwill. Hopefully they've been able to, because we haven't even. There was a time where we couldn't go to Goodwill or Salvation Army either. So I think that they've been, doing with it what they can to share it with others. Yeah, and then we've been able to, at the same time, we've now gotten to the point where we've moved some of those costumes that have been gone through, our specialty costumes, and we've moved those back upstairs into our big brown closet that's not impacted by any of this work, so that we can start to clear away for the next step, which Marty, you can talk about, which is the roof, and which also the electrical and the HVAC. But we had to get things out of the way in the theater so that we could start doing the work.
great. And the other thing, since we're talking about just this external thing, so that was costumes, but also Alice and Catherine Rahm have been instrumental in handling the archiving of all of the digital material. So every single thing that we have is being digitized, and it's now becoming available. And in fact, if any of you would like to join us on a Zoom party this week, I'll post the Zoom meeting and you can see some of those pictures. And because we have a ton of pictures of the past, and we tend to have some special guests on, like Kalia and Charlotte, and they share their wealth of knowledge about these older shows, as well as some of the newer ones that some of you have been in. So it could be very entertaining. So Samantha, I'll send you that, and maybe you can post it on the YouTube thing. But getting back to where we're at, Allie, how's that been going with the digitizing?
Well, I think we've actually scanned all the photos that we had. That was another collection of things that we had upstairs in our green room, was all of our, we have a wall of fame, or a lot of photos all over the green room and the dressing rooms of a lot of pictures of all of the shows we've done. And we had file cabinets full of photos. And so again, in the last 4 or 5 months, I don't know, 6 months, we went through and scanned everything. Again, something we couldn't do unless we were on lockdown, because we basically took over part of the lobby to do it. And we're done with the photos, at least the photos that we had physical copies of. We're still collecting CDs that we'll also upload. Our current publicity chair has CDs that she's adding photos for other shows.
As we
and
speak.
now What's that?
As we speak.
Oh, great. And then we're going to start on the scrapbooks, right? That's next, and our meeting minutes. And so we're going to have everything that is the history of our theater uploaded digitally so that we don't have to worry about losing. A lot of this stuff is literally crumbling in our hands. So
that is really priceless information, is the history of our theater. Sam and I have talked about this a little bit, but we are the oldest community theater in Los Angeles. That's a really big deal, and that's very, very special. And I'm really thankful that you all are saving all this.
And we may be one of the oldest theaters west of the Mississippi.
Oh, wow. We'll have to look into that, see where we stand.
We may be one of 5.
Oh, that's amazing. I mean, we've been around for a really long time, and that's really amazing.
Continuously running.
Continuously running, correct.
It's a continuously running theater. So
correct.
That's actually what's important. I just posted something on the session here that maybe you can post to YouTube.
Okay. This is for the Zoom meeting on Friday.
Yeah, this is for the
Friends.
Zoom meeting.
This is a Friends of Kentwood meeting that Mario's, where we all can get together and talk and look at old pictures and tell funny stories and draw things. It's very fun.
Yes.
And sing karaoke. Real quickly, Daniel, who's been working with the costumes, said that they were donated. They were also given to other theaters that needed them. And then, of course, the ones that were tossed, they were unusable, which is so sad. But it happens. Things deteriorate over time.
They were used. Their time was
That's right.
Was used wisely.
Well, and after that, we're going to get to the prop room and handle that.
And
but
do that.
I want to just state something, that while this has been going on, and we started to say, well, what's next is the roof and the ceilings. So all of the ceiling upstairs in our second floor had to come down. Anything that was water damage. So that's all down, and I owe a debt of gratitude to Sean Plunkett.
Oh, thank you, Sean.
For helping to pull down all of the tiling and the slats that hold up the tiling.
I knew he'd end up being good at something.
It just took a matter of time.
It was a matter of time. A matter of time we'd figure it out. But I wanted to say real quickly, let's give this a little preface. We had leaks in our ceilings, all over the ceilings. So anytime it rained, we would run in, move racks of costumes around, put buckets. We had buckets everywhere.
I never knew about that, and I have been here for 2 years now. Never knew about that.
You did not do a show during rainy season.
No, I never have.
One point in time, I was doing Into the Woods, and it started raining, and I'm getting ready, and I've got my nice little wig on, and then drip, drip, drip over. I was like, oh my gosh! We're like moving people's stations. We're getting buckets. It was.
Oh, and you know what?
It needed to happen.
We had brilliant people over the last 30 years try to repair the roof. I mean, it's not like people didn't repair the roof.
And they did a great job. It's how many years? I can do math. 50 years old.
Yeah. The roof was old enough that it needed to be worked on. But not, again, so we're going to talk about the roof for a second.
Yeah.
We got very lucky. We have 3 separate roof locations. We have the area that's over the dressing room, and we call that the flat roof. And because it's flat and it's slants, it does fill up with a lot of water. And that's where the majority of the leaks were. And so that roof turned out not to be in so bad a shape that it had to be totally picked up.
Yay!
So they were able to actually fix only the sections that were damaged. We had no mold, which was also really good.
Oh, great.
We had termite people come in and inspect, and yes, we had termites, but that's being dealt with. In fact, tomorrow from 11 to 2, the termite people are coming again, because they do that afterwards, to make sure that everything has been handled correctly in terms of what we're doing. And so that's one part of the roof. We got very lucky. The pitched roof over the theater section is actually in great shape. But our poor little lobby pitch roof was not in good shape. And it was leaking into the box office. And some of you may remember the gutters were leaking, so that when you would enter the theater during a rainstorm or during the summer when the air conditioning was on, the water would just drip down onto people's heads as they walked through the main theater.
Our little theater.
And Sam, you do know that one, right? Sam Ginfollow, that you did know. You did not know that one?
I did not know that.
He's so popular that after shows he couldn't even get out into the patio.
Yeah,
he was just like swarmed with fans.
Let's just leave it at that. I mean, that's it.
So, because of all of that, so the roof has been, again, they removed the HVAC huge units. They removed all the ductwork on the roof. We pulled down the ceilings upstairs. We're repairing the ceiling down in the box office. And we're going to be moving on to the next step, which they should be finished with the roof completely and new gutters by the end of this week, by the first of the year. Let's just say the first of the year. And that is really exciting. It'll be really great to see. I have photos again for people who want to see the progression. If you're into cranes and you want to see the big crane that lifted off these huge HVAC systems off of the roof, but I'm
trying to get it.
But I'll tell you, being there and seeing how, I don't know what's the word that I can use. These units were really old, and they were really not healthy. They were unhealthy for us before there was this pandemic. We would do shows, and some of you who have been in our shows would know that during the rainy season or during some shows, all we had to do was have one cast member get sick, and it went throughout the entire cast. Well,
yes. I know that one. I know that one.
Well, if you saw what our ventilation system, which is part of the HVAC system, looked like, you pretty much understand that's what we were breathing in. So all of that has been taken out and cleared up, and we'll get to that in a second. So that's the roof being repaired and the ceiling being taken down. And again, we're almost done with that part. And meanwhile, we have another member, not just Sean Plunkett. I mean, members have been great. Everybody's a member. Everybody's been awesome. But we have a member by the name of Doug Carlson who has saved us over $10,000 in electrical assessment. And
wow.
He has taken a look at if any of you remember, anything electrical that hasn't been working, it now works again.
That's amazing.
Not only that, we actually understand why it works, which is even more critical to the way everything is. So he has gone through the upstairs. We've gotten rid of things that are no longer needed.
That's amazing.
We have moved into much cleaner environment, safety-wise.
That's
just
great.
Electrical alone, as well as safety-wise and what we're going to do going into the future.
That's great. I was just going to ask, so this is a lot of stuff that's going into this. We've got all these members helping, and I know we had to reach out. And I know, Susan, you work a lot with professional contractors and construction and all that stuff. Well, you did before you left us to the Smoky Hills of Tennessee.
To go to the south, honey, yes.
Yeah, to the south. Tell us what goes into this to maintaining such a structure like this.
Well, that was a real trial and error. I mean, Doug Carlson, as you said, just is amazing in so many ways and saved us so much money. And by the way, he's not only brilliant as an engineer for the building, he also helps on sets and with any kind of complication or complicated questions that we can't solve. He finds a way to engineer it. So he's very multi-talented. But basically what we had to do was start finding contractors who would come out to the theater, who would understand what we were dealing with and the fact that we were not wealthy, that we didn't have money to burn, that this was a challenge for us to try to figure out how we were going to do all these things like a chain reaction that needed to be done and still do it within a reasonable amount of money, because as with many theaters right now, we're not making any revenue right now. So we had to contact multiple contractors. I mean, it took months and months and months, and Marty was there meeting with contractors. And Biddy, Elizabeth Summer, has a similar background to mine, and she was very instrumental in helping get contractors down there, because we had to present alternative bids to the board. So you couldn't just say, okay, yeah, we'll go with this person. We had to show that this was the best deal that we could get for the scope of work that we were trying to do. So that in itself was huge task. I can't even stress how big. And then, like any remodeling project, when you remodel at home, you open up a wall, you don't know necessarily what you're going to find. And sometimes you get away with stuff and you think, okay, this is not going to be as bad as I thought. And then sometimes it ends up costing you $2,000 more than you thought. So it's been that kind of a process, but we've been very fortunate in the contractors that we have who have stepped up and understand that we're a nonprofit theater trying to, scrape this all together and kind of help us. So Marty can speak more to that, but they really have been terrific.
Thanks, Susan. Again, Elizabeth Summer, Biddy, has been instrumental in pulling in the latest group of people. And, it's the relationship that our members have with others that have actually made the difference. We're not bringing in people who don't understand the theater. One of the reasons why Doug is such a great asset is he actually understands how the theater works. So if we just brought an electrician in, we wouldn't have the same end result. They wouldn't understand why things have to be the way they are. And so Elizabeth understands many of those things, and so she's working from that kind of concept. And we're just very fortunate with that. So where we're now at is, this, by the way, has gone.
Oh, Marty, you have to use your stage voice.
Oh, sorry. I don't know what last part you didn't hear, but we have been getting this all approved by the board. So the committee brings things to the board, to the bigger committee, and then we bring it to the board. The board approves it, and then the membership approve it. And so this is all based upon that. And what we're dealing with is, there are some financial issues, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But I'm not the person to talk about.
Give us the Reader's Digest version of what we can expect in 2021. Because I also want to say, all this is happening. We still have Vanya, Sonia, Masha, and Spike set on stage.
Yes.
Costumes, props, everything set where it was last left. Ready to go in March, ready to go on. These actors have been periodically meeting with the director, Susan. We are ready to, Michael Thorpe's going to come back because we had to chink the lights down. He's going to, we're ready to go as soon as we get the all clear that the apocalypse is over and we can move forward. So what can we expect in 2021? What's the Reader's Digest version?
Well, the next thing that's going to happen is that we are going to be putting in a new HVAC system that is going to be state of the art.
And HVAC is air conditioning?
Air conditioning and heating.
And heating.
And it is going to be state of the art. It's going to be what they call clean room ready. So it's as clean and as safe as a hospital room is the way that it will be. And that should be really good for our guests coming into the theater, as well as the actors upstairs.
Nice.
And we will resolve the issues we had with our old air conditioning, where it cooled the audience to the point that they needed it shut off.
A blanket.
While the actors were
melting
on the stage. So all of these things are getting worked out. I mean, this gave us an opportunity to fix problems at the same time that we were going to bring all of this together.
Yes.
So that's going in. But when you put in a new air conditioning system, you also have electrical that goes with it. So it's a combined effort to do the electrical and air conditioning units together that will go into the system. And these units again are newer, state of the art. They don't sit on the roof. They're not going to damage the roof.
Nice.
You're going to see some fundamentally cleaner looking roof work because of this when you come to the theater again. Everything will look, there are things that will look different in terms of the way the physical building is. And we're also taking advantage, since we had to replace the floor upstairs, and because the subfloors have to come up and get reworked, that we're going to start moving some things around, and we're going to actually make the dressing room area work a little bit better than it has in the past.
I love it. In the green room. I love it.
And the green room. So we're accommodating costumes and furniture and rehearsing space, and
it will give us a lot more rehearsal space. We won't have to move racks of costumes constantly like we do now. So that's a big plus.
So not just the culling of the costumes, but how they go back up and where they go. The balcony has gotten repurposed. For those of you worried about the safety of the balcony is been redone and is extra safe, and it's going to be used to house the air conditioning condensers. And so it's been repurposed. And so there's a lot of that kind of stuff that's occurred. I don't know.
I love it. I think this is great. And I think what I'm hearing is that we, just like all of our shows, it takes this village of people coming together, collaborating together to, keep our building up to date, make it even better and stronger within our means. And I have to say, and Daniel said Doug is a rock star, and I wholeheartedly agree. We all do. I am so excited to get to work. Like, I walk through the theater when we do these rounds of checking on the building, and I walk through and I'm like, I want to build something, paint something, it looks so wonderful. And I think it's going to be really exciting when we finally get to move back in to start working to rehearse a show or direct a show or build something.
Prior to that, in a very safe way during this COVID lockdown, anybody who feels like they would like to help do certain things, there are still some tasks that we could certainly use members for. Repainting the walls, doing things as we...
I love that. Marty, because I know it's not right now. It's not like, this coming week. So how can they get their information to you? What's the best way that they can get their information to you so that when you are ready for this, you can reach out and find availability and all that?
I would really love for them to send an email to housemanager@kentwoodplayers.org.
I'm gonna put that in the comments section right now.
Yes, please do that. Judy Rosenfeld, has already reached out to me. I mean, we have people who are very,
great. We probably want to mention, sorry, Marty, just because talking about all this stuff that we're having done, and I know you're probably going there next, but part of the reason we're trying to find as much that we can have the membership assist with as possible is because there's a cost associated to all of this work. And so that cost, and Susan can probably talk about it better than I can, it's not cheap. It will be good, but it's not cheap. But we're trying our best to do as much as we can with our membership for that reason. So yes, this all comes with a price tag.
It does.
I'll be right back.
Which is just we're working really hard, hopefully, to get a lot of help and support from anyone, anywhere, donations and assistance. We're looking at all avenues to try to help because this is over and above our day-to-day costs and expenses that we can cover with the way we do our shows. So we're trying to really revisit a lot of that, how we're functioning and how we're going to pay back. We have loans that we're going to need to pay back, and then of course there's still a list of things that we haven't yet addressed. So
That's true. It's true. But we are going to be doing massive amount of fundraising because, as you said, our day-to-day revenue, even if we were running, would not cover the cost of all of these repairs. And you can imagine putting in HVAC systems and electrical and roofing and all of this, it's quite expensive. So we are a 501c3 corporation, which means your donation is tax deductible. And we welcome any donation, large, small, in between. We welcome any referrals you have for donations, grants, anything like that. We are definitely in the market for looking for all that.
Where can we donate?
You can donate to Kentwood Players. You can send a check. We are hooking up a button. I believe that's going to be on KP Live. I think we're going to be doing the button. Is that a possibility?
Oh, it's on our
something about that.
It's on our social media, on our Facebook right now.
But you can certainly mail a check to 8301 Hendry Avenue, Los Angeles 90045 to Kentwood Players, and we'd be happy to accept your donation.
I think we also have a Venmo.
Yes,
right?
we also have Venmo, so you can Venmo us at Kentwood Players. So we're going to be instituting more ways to make it easier for people to give money in the next month or so.
Yes,
I love that. That's great. And I want to say thank you to everyone who's donated money already. I know we've had a few members who have done their Facebook birthday donations or different campaigns. And so anyone who's donated already, thank you. And like Susan listed all these different ways. Also, in-kind donations. We've received things for the theater that have been donated from printers, computers, etc. So, and then also time and work. So, that's huge. As Marty said before, Doug alone, just that wonderful man, has saved us so much money in just his in-kind donation with over his time and energy.
And so is Sean Lefty.
And Sean Plunk. I mean, there's a whole list. We'll be here for a really long time naming all the people.
And Elizabeth, a lot.
Elizabeth.
I mean, they really have. You're right. There've been a tremendous amount of people. And that's what's made Kentwood always so terrific, is that there's been this great pool of people to draw from who really care and love the theater.
Absolutely. And I think that's, exactly what you're saying, Susan, is that it's everyone, pulling together and helping to strengthen us all up together. Also, Daniel reminded us that you can also hook up your Ralph's account and your Amazon Smile account to Kentwood. And you can also, I don't know about Ralph's, but with Amazon, it's super easy to kind of flip through. So if you have a few places that you like to donate to, just throw us in the mix.
I was just going to say, sorry.
Please.
I also have a couple of clients that are downsizing their home, and they wanted to know if we wanted a baby grand piano and all this artwork. And I said,
oh, if only.
Yes, if we can auction it off. So I think we're going to have that down the road.
Oh, that's wonderful.
After we can talk about that.
That's wonderful.
Baby grand would be lovely.
And
there's no place for it to go.
I don't know where we're going to put it, but
I know where we can put it. But that's the wonderful thing. And we talk on this show with every single guest that comes on every week. We talk about the importance of theater and why we do this. And everyone has some reason of how theater's affected in their life, how it has influenced them, how it has saved them, how it's changed them, given them skills that they've used in other areas, et cetera, et cetera. And we always talk about collaboration. And I think it's so important that we keep theater going, even despite where we are right now. And this has all been part of how we keep our little Kentwood Players home, our little Kentwood Player sanctuary, going alive and well, so that we can continue to do shows when we come out of this. So, yes.
I'm hoping, and this is just one board member's idea, that we are going to be able to offer rehearsal space and maybe even performance space to some of the theaters that have lost their theaters, and be able to be a bigger network for people, as we move on, or to embrace these theaters into our.
It's a hard time as we're all struggling with jobs, people losing jobs, and people trying to stay afloat, and companies folding, and we've lost some of our sister theaters during this time, and it's a really hard time. I'm super thankful that we've managed to stay afloat, and that we are even able to turn this downtime into a positive.
Right.
And so, in some way or form, however we're able to do it, we reach out to our sister theaters. It's going to take all of us supporting each other to stay alive and to stay well. That's the only way this little thing called theater works.
But we can also use our theater, can be used for a television shoot, for commercial shoot. There'll be a lot of different things that we can rent it out for as recording area once we get everything put back together, which hopefully will be done maybe by March, I think.
Yeah, we have a lot of ideas that we're going to be talking to the board about. We
have a lot of ideas, and we have a lot of dreams, and we have a lot of wants, and we have a lot of desires. Right now, the reality is we're really grateful that we're still around and that we're able to do the work on our building. And I know I'm really thankful to everyone here who has given of your time to organize all of this, and to everybody who's already donated, and who's already, giving and kind to help theater to continue to grow and influence our community. That's really what it's about. So we're here, right? Speaking of our community and our members, I want to give a huge shout out to Dave Park, who's one of our loyal fans, because guess what today is? Today's his birthday. And anniversary. So happy birthday, Dave! Aw, should we sing?
We can. Or not.
I love we're all going to be at different speeds.
Oh my God, they're active singers, but not, no.
Dave, we love you so much. You don't want us singing. It will be a disaster.
You don't want to hear us at this point.
But happy birthday. You are awesome. Happy anniversary.
And if you come on to the Zoom party this Friday, I'm hoping that we get a chance to celebrate a very momentous birthday.
Big 25.
Who? No. Kalia.
I'm like, who's turning
25? What?
Kalia's going to be 25. No.
Yes,
Kalia.
Yes.
Kalia is going to...
She's 25 plus.
Her age. But Kalia's birthday is on the 31st.
Yes, it is.
Us all to get together and give her a Zoom bash. She's been coming on these Friday night parties, and if we can get her some more people just to acknowledge her and everything. I should be so lucky to live that long and look back
and to be able to sing like she does, and remember all the lyrics, which she did last week to Bill.
She is amazing. Wow. We have a little announcement. We have some stuff in the works with Kalia and Miss Charlotte coming to everybody at the Kentwood Players. You're going to hear a bunch of fun stories coming up. Yay! So thank you all so much for giving us an update. We've got some fun things to look forward to in 2021. And also don't forget to follow us so that you can know when we're doing a new virtual theater series play. And don't forget to check out Together Apart. We only have a couple more weeks. And then we're coming up 3 syllables of shame. I always want to say something. I always want to get right to the shame. Shame and 3 syllables. No.
I also want to say that Allison and Susan will both be directing shows in the next few weeks.
Yes, Allison's coming up after that one, and then followed by Susan. So yay! So thank you all. Thank you so much for supporting our little theater. Thanks everyone for your time, and we will see you next week. Happy New Year! Next time we talk about 2021!
Our last stream of 2020.
Yay! Oh my gosh.
Who would have thought that we would still be doing this into the next year?
I'm so excited for 2021, y'all.
This should be one of the things that sticks around. This is a good thing.
This will stick around. It will take different formats, but it will still stick around. So, Happy New Year, everybody, and we'll see you in 2021 where everything gets better.
Of course.
Yay.
Bye.